I was privileged to know Nosson, Zichrono Livrocha, for well over 40 years, probably almost 45 years the first time more than 45 years ago when I first met him. And I want to deliver a message of Hakaras Hatov, of appreciation. Nosson himself was a person of Hakaras Hatov, and I'm here to express Hakaras Hatov on a personal level, as well as on an institutional level. The institutional level is for all the Talmidim sitting here who, as Rabbi Shuren alluded to, don't really know, never got to know Reb Nosson. But institutionally, we have tremendous Hakaras Hatov. But I'm going to first start with the personal Hakaras Hatov, is that he was the shadchan of my oldest daughter with my oldest son-in-law. Very, very chashuv avrech talmid chacham, who learned in Itri. And Reb Nosson knew me and he knew the family. And when Reb Nosson called up and says, I have a shidduch for your daughter, and she had already been in shidduchim for a while. So we jumped at it. If Reb Nosson is suggesting a shidduch, got to be something there. And Baruch Hashem, it was unbelievable, and Baruch Hashem, their mishpacha is unbelievable. And many, many times when I met Reb Nosson, he came to our family simchas, and I always said, my wife and I have tremendous hakaras hatov to you, because you were the shadchan of my first daughter, and the personal hakaras hatov, institutional hakaras hatov. So, Rabbi Shuren alluded to the fact that when he came to Eretz Yisrael, he moved here. Reb Nosson brought him in the kollel in Chappelle's. So Chappelle's predates Darchei Noam, and Chappelle's went through a number of iterations, and Darchei Noam started, and a year and a half after Darchei Noam started, there was various reasons to talk about a merger, because Chappelle's and Darchei Noam really had a similar hashkafa, similar approach in learning, similar student body, and each one had certain needs that the other institution could supplement. The greatness that we saw of Reb Nosson Kamenetsky, Zichrono Livrocha, was the fact that he, an experienced Rosh Yeshiva, a Talmid Chacham, unbelievable, and he was ready to make a merger with 3 young kids. And that's what we were in 1980. 3 young kids who had a couple of years' experience running a yeshiva, and we thought we knew what we were doing, and I think we didn't miss the mark too much. But he was ready to bring us in, not only as partners, but to allow us to run the chinuch program. Where did that come from? So the first thing, it came from humility. Reb Nosson was a big anov. He was never looking for kavod. What was he looking for? He was looking to spread Torah, to spread a love for Torah. That's what he was looking for. And he saw that if we get together, we're going to succeed in that. Reb Nosson knew how to guide young men who were looking for spiritual growth, because this is the late 70s and early 80s, when people were still looking for truth and for spirituality. And he knew how to do that with brilliant intellect. That was Reb Nosson. His shiurim, his approach was pure brilliance, inspirational and moving and elevating, because he was a man of Torah, and he was a man of Chiddush, and we have a couple of people sitting here from way, way, way back. So they know what I'm talking about. He, as Rabbi Shuren said, he was a broad person. You have to be very broad to appreciate and then know how to work with American college kids in the 70s and 80s coming to spend time in Israel and to realize, you know what? They could be brought into yeshiva and be taught Torah. And he, with Rabbi Bravender, figured that out. brought them in, inspired them, educated them, and was a Baal Seichel. A Baal Seichel means he had instinct, he had intelligence. The guidance he gave was always responsible guidance. Many of the policies that we have in the yeshiva today all originated from Reb Nosson, because he had his shimush from Reb Yaakov, and that Baalei Tshuva have a certain need and a certain mahalach, and many of the things were decided by and instituted by Reb Nosson because they were not necessarily what other Baal Tshuva yeshivas were doing. And as Rabbi Sherman was speaking, he reminded me of an exchange that we had with Reb Shlomo Zalman, when there was something that Reb Nosson said we should be doing in the yeshiva, and we were doing it, but there was a question over the years, is it appropriate, maybe we should change the policy. And we went to Reb Shlomo Zalman to ask him. And Reb Shlomo Zalman said, I can't answer you, go ask somebody else. So I went to Rabbi Bullman, Zatzal was one of my great Rebbeim, to find out what's pshat. Because Rabbi Bullman himself wasn't sure if we should be doing what we were doing, a certain policy. And I said to Rabbi Bullman, Reb Shlomo Zalman didn't want to answer. He said, go ask somebody else. So Rabbi Bullman said to me exactly how Reb Nosson answered Rabbi Shurin. If that's what Reb Shlomo Zalman told you, then you're allowed to keep doing it. Because if you weren't, he would have said you can't do it. Okay? That was Reb Nosson, but it was brought into the yeshiva by Reb Nosson. And it was the fact that he worked with us together as equal partners, and he said brilliant shiurim, and he respected us for what we were, and it was always a pleasure. It was just the simcha that you got when you interacted and he spoke, and there was always that new little insight, and he was always looking, and you could see it on his face when he gave those shir klolis, and he would come up with that unexpected twist, and the smile on his face, because he knew he's getting to you. So this was tremendously inspirational, and it's a great loss. We stayed connected with Reb Nosson even after he left, and he went back to Itri to do many other things. But he did speak here a number of times in the yeshiva. I think that his Yom HaTzmaut drushes that he gave here over the years are memorable ones, and anybody wants to get a real penetrating insight into Yom HaTzmaut should go listen to the tapes of what he had to say. And again, on an institutional level, we have tremendous hakaras hatov, and of course, very early in the Chappelle's Darchino merger, Rabbi Yosef Kamenetsky was brought in. Reb Nosson suggested that maybe he should come in, give shiurim, and we took him in, and it was amazing. Reb Reuven's older brother. And then when Reb Yosef should be well, Yibal Chaim, Reb Yosef said, I'm sorry, I'm leaving because I'm taking a job, something else, big position. I went to Reb Nosson. I said, he can't do, you got to talk him out of it. You got to talk him out of leaving. So Reb Nosson says, there's nothing I can do, but I have a great idea for you. His brother. And I'm not just saying that. His brother will be a worthy replacement. And Reb Nosson was right. So now another part of hakaras hatov that this yeshiva has to have is that we had Reb Yosef for many years, and many of the Talmidim received their Torah from Reb Yosef, and a worthy successor is Reb Reuven, and again, this is all the hakaras hatov from Reb Nosson for raising such Talmidei Chachamim, which is not such an easy thing, and bringing them into the yeshiva with us. That again, all of you are benefiting tremendously, and we are truly missing and mourning the great loss that Klal Yisrael has, as well as each of us.